Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Nate the Great!
So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Game Changer Podcast. It is not quite a podcast unless you have one of the most fabulous people on the show. Somebody who is absolutely wonderful, amazing, breathtaking. You could definitely say that she is a grown-ass woman. Yeah, I went there. This is the one, the only, the fabulous, the sensational, the, ooh yeah, macho-licious SoCal Val.
Now that, if to anyone who's listening, that is what you call an intro. Thank you, Nate. Bravo, round of applause. Thank you for that.
A very literal round of applause. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, obviously, the last time that we did this, we did like a whole deal with the other ladies of God TV, which is still going strong right now. Absolutely amazing seeing, the guests that you guys have been bringing on. So I guess the first question I'll have for you is, how is God TV going? And is there anything new that you would like to discuss? Obviously nothing too top secret, but
yes. Well, it's just you and I and our fabulous listeners. So it's like a family affair, So yes, God's been going great. We've had some amazing guests. We just had Tasha Steeles on, Katarina Lee, known as Winter in Impact Wrestling. We had JBL was one of our big guests that we had, as far as current WWE as well. We've really tried to run the gamut of not just wrestling, but some people that are, in the music industry, some drag queens, some actors and things like that. So we, as much as we love our wrestling guests and our wrestling fans, we really do try to branch out and keep it interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously you definitely want to try and, like you said, branch out to other deals. Obviously you can appeal to one demographic being wrestling, but that can only get you so far. So it's really cool to see that you try to reach out to other, people. What are some of the names or some of the people that you've actually tried to reach out to? Obviously can't confirm anything, but in theory, who have you possibly reached out to?
We haven't had on yet.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I love drag queens. I love LGBTQ plus community. I love being an ally. So we've reached out to a few drag queens. Alaska, who her last name I'm not allowed to say. Thunder F is her last name, but we'll just call her Alaska from Drag Race. We've also tried to reach out to some people from Bling Empire, which is a really popular show on Netflix. One of my favorite shows as well. Mickey has a lot of contacts in the music industry too, so we're thinking about possibly having another musician on, someone from the country music industry possibly. I know Lisa has some fitness people that she's known for years that she's wanted to get on as well. So we all have our kind of favorite things, and we try to reach out to things that we like and things that we think our viewers will like. And most importantly, it has to be someone, even if the following isn't big, it has to be someone that we know will have a good time with and that will be an interesting interview. And our whole thing, we always say it's the ultimate slumber party with cocktails. So hello, as long as you can hang out with us, have a cocktail, keep it lighthearted and fun and be interesting and engaging. That's all we ask, really.
Yeah, because nothing really kills a mood like dead air on a show.
I know. And that's my biggest fear. Even when we're all kind of talking, we're like, and we kind of there's almost a lull in the conversation. There barely ever is. But I'm always terrified as the host that I'm like, I don't like dead air. It freaks me out. I want it to always be an ongoing conversation. That's really never happened. I have to say, in almost, I think 200 episodes, we're at almost. And we've been lucky in that way. But I think that's why thank you for the applause there, Nate. You're so sweet. That's why I think we try to pick people that we know, we've seen enough on TV, or we know them, and we know that they're going to be a really good, fun time.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. So there were a lot of things that we kind of discussed on what we would probably do for this show around, because we've probably done just about everything as far as this. Idea that
different themes and everything. Yeah.
One of the things I mentioned was playing the game of 2 truths and 1 lie, which if we have time, we could probably do that. But one of the things I definitely did want to try was do a bit of a word association game. Basically what it is that I'm just going to give you a name, a word, and what is the first thing that you kind of associate that with, as well as maybe if you have a funny, if not, feasible and appropriate story about that person. And I'll explain a little bit as to why I brought up certain people during the show. So if you're ready, Val, I actually do have the first one ready for you.
Okay, I am ready. I like that I don't know who it is, because then I can give you a super candid, unfiltered answer.
All right. First name, Jeff Jarrett.
Ooh, and do I need to have one word?
No, this is our show. We can have as many words as you want.
Oh my gosh. Jeff Jarrett. Ooh, I would say trailblazer. I mean, he, pioneer even. He's somebody who, created Impact Wrestling and had such a great career on his own, but like had the fortitude to go ahead and start a company that's still going really, really strong to this day. So I would say pioneer. Yeah, that he deserves that for sure.
The crazy thing about Jeff Jarrett was that I was just literally looking up some of his clips from his podcast, My World. Cheap plug. He's not paying me for this, so definitely check him out. Honestly, some really good content.
Genuine.
Definitely. Honestly, he had some really good stories on there. I think that when he mentioned some stories, especially on the night that Owen passed, that was one that was really tough to get through. But
yeah,
I definitely saw, for some reason, one of the clips on there said like Jeff Jarrett talks about SoCal Val, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Let's see what he has to say.
Someone told me this recently, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, basically what Jeff had to say was that, local girl, she was good. Definitely felt like, Jeremy Borash was like the male presence of like the backstage kind of deal, and they needed a female one, and you definitely fit the bill for that. So had nothing but high praises to say about you. So that was really cool.
I love that. Well, Jeff, I owe so much to Jeff. Jeff was the first one to literally physically sign my contract, my big contract in a huge company at 18 years old. So I remember I actually had to go. He was at ringside doing something. He's literally standing on the apron. I was like, do you mind signing this? And like Terry Taylor, someone with me, just explained he needed to sign off on it. And he literally, I'll never forget him physically signing it as he was like, yeah, sure. But I was like, wow. But I mean, I was 18 years old. I'd been in the business for like 2 years by then. Just, valeting and doing independent shows, and to be under a contract, they could have just, gone show to show with me. And I'm sure, my contracts differed, but to sign a contract at that young age was like a really, really big deal. No one gets that, usually at that young age. So very cool.
No,
I owe him a lot. Yeah.
Very fortunate. Next one, Vince Russo.
Oh, whenever I think of Vince Russo, I just think of this. That's what he does. He comes into the room and he's like, all right, guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? All right. And he always did that with Jay Lethal and Sanjay and I, when we were doing our storyline. And I just said this on something else. I forget what it was, but I was crediting him with not only believing in us, but really giving us creative freedom. He was like, he wanted our ideas and like wanted our input. If we thought something was funny or important, he wanted to hear about it. It's one thing for somebody to go like, oh yeah, what are your thoughts? Then not use them. He actually used a lot of the funny things that we wanted to do and like wanted us to contribute, which is very rare with someone in creative. Not really rare in Impact Wrestling in my experience, but from what I've been what I've been told, that's not always the way. So he was somebody who really let us do that and let us have some leeway, which is really cool.
Okay, so we have Russo to thank for that. Was that Triangle Ladder of Love match at No Surrender?
Yes, the Ladder of Love match. Yeah, with the engagement ring hanging above the balance, which is still on YouTube. People that meet me and then realize what I've done in the past, they're like, oh, and they're like, I saw this weird thing on YouTube, you getting married. And I'm like, here we go. People always look up my name, and then that's what they always want to talk about, is that. Like, why are you in a wedding dress? Why were you like, what's with the ring on the pillow above the ladder? I'm like, dude, it's the whole long story.
Not really that much of a long story. Lethal was acting like Macho Man. Sanjay was acting like Hulk Hogan. And in the end, Hulk Hogan was the villain and he won the girl. So
yeah, pretty much.
That's how you kind of sum it up.
And Sanjay had way more money. So I mean, like for me, it was like a no-brainer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is true.
Like, duh. Well, like ladder bank account match.
Shout out to Sanjay and Lethal. We love you guys.
Yeah.
Honestly,
and Papa Dutt with all the money, apparently. That's where it came. Sweet Papa Dutt.
So let's visit the opposite end of the spectrum, the arch nemesis of Vince Russo, Jim Cornette.
Oh, Jim Cornette, a legend. I've always loved Jim Cornette. I've watched so many of his tapes, and I've worked with him many, many times. I got to do presenting with him different times. I know we did NWA Legends one time, and I will tell you a weird story. Jim Cornette and I had to go out and address a huge banquet of wrestling legends when I'm talking 10 minutes before we were supposed to go out there. And I wonder if he'd remember this. I'm sure he would, because it was so surreal and weird and sad that we all got texts that Roddy Piper had passed away. And we had just, people were already, we looked out at all the tables and people were looking at their phones going, oh my God, these are people that know him very well. And it was really sad because then we had the task to go out there and kind of, it had already been announced, but like it had just been announced. So we had to kind of do a moment of silence, and it was really tough. So that was interesting to share that moment with him. Obviously, because all those people knew him and worked with him. I had met him, Roddy Piper, Mr. Piper. I'd met him in an elevator once, years before that, and he just like gave me a kiss on my hand and was like the coolest, most gentlemanly, charismatic movie star man ever. And even like the 2 minutes of meeting him, I was like, this guy is cool. He didn't just have like that cool charisma. He was very, very cool. So I'm just thrilled I got to say that I met him. But yeah, that was an interesting thing with Jim Cornette. And yeah, I think a great mind for the business. I know people tend to have polarizing views, but in my experiences, they've always been good.
Dixie Carter.
Dixie Carter. Ooh, maybe female CEO. No, I don't know a word. Brave. I think a lot of the things that she did and the way that she would always address the crowd, and, you know, she was in such a male dominated industry as we all are. I think that was very brave of her to stick to her guns and then eventually kind of go public as her role in Impact and kind of be in front of the fans so much. And she really did like go out. People forget, like she went out all the time to go meet the fans and tried to remain really fan friendly and fan inviting. So yeah, I always liked that about that. She would go out early and like, you know, get people wanted selfies and people wanted to talk to her and stuff like that. So she doesn't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Right. It's kind of weird because I think I've seen like her like both sides of the story when it comes to Dixie. There's, you know, the sweet Southern side that she has, but there's also the other side. I think Jim Cornette actually mentioned this on his run with TNA, where I think there was one point where she actually wanted to make sure that the makeup lady had like a spot designated for her. And she just wanted to make sure that nobody was in that spot. Nobody was there. So that way she can get her makeup. So that way she can go out.
But hey, you know what? And I'm going to defend Dixie Carter right here. If you are on television or you're the CEO and whatever, and you know, guys never listen, Jim Cornette, with all due respect, and any of these guys, they're never going to understand why hair and makeup's important. They're never going to get it. Here's an example of when that happens. So very often the producers and things would go, okay, well, we need like, you know, Madison Rayne in a promo. We need RVD, blah, blah, blah. RVD literally just comes out and he's RVD. Madison Rayne had just arrived to the building. I'm using her as an example. It happened many times with many girls. I'm just using her name as an example of a TNA knockout. And they go, yeah, we need you to do a pre-tape in 10 minutes. And she's like, you know, we don't come to the shows looking like SoCal Val. You know, well, that's not true. I always do because I'm just going to be real honest with you. It was very rare that I would come in looking like, you know, but we do have to get her makeup done. I'm just kind of being silly now. But, you know, these girls have to get into their glam, and that is their whole persona, especially Madison Rayne and the blondes and things. They have to be in that character, and they can't go on TV looking like not their character. It's like asking a wrestler to go out without having like tanner and oil on. It doesn't happen. They'd be pissed if you asked them to do that. So the hair and makeup is a very important thing. So I don't know exactly what that story is, but I will defend and say, especially if you're the owner of the company, looking good is a big deal, i.e. Stephanie McMahon. She gets it too.
You know what? Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of Madison Rayne, let's actually do a trio for this one. The Beautiful People.
Ooh, blonde. I don't know. I liked that they brought like a sexiness and the diva side to stuff. I really liked that because, you know, that's kind of my jam. I loved like the modeling part and the sexiness, and I love that they always did that unapologetically. They had some great matches, of course, as well. But yeah, and it was interesting because then they had like Angel and Velvet, and then they had Madison come in, and I thought that was really cool when they had the three of them. They had Lacey for like a hot minute, but then it was mainly, I always think of the three of them mainly as the Beautiful People.
Let's see here. Who else we had there? Oh, this is probably one of my favorite knockouts from that time. Roxy Laveau.
I have not heard that name in a while. Whatever happened? I don't know if she's still wrestling or anything anymore. Is she?
I do not know. I just remember she was the Voodoo Queen for a while.
Yeah.
She was the one woman that actually said like, yeah, I'm fine with getting my head shaved, and then just disappeared. I'm just like,
yeah, she was fearless in that way. That's a word I would use. And really versatile as well, which I thought was cool. I always think of her, I guess, as Nikki Rocks. Well, we have different names for her, but yeah, she was fearless, and she was very malleable and versatile, which I think made her a lot more of an asset to the company, which I always thought was cool that she could switch it up like that. I like that. She's always really nice too.
I imagine, honestly, like I said, if shout out to Roxy Laveau. And Roxy, if you're out there, hit me up. I definitely would love the chance to interview you. And honestly, I would also love to see a God TV with Roxy on it.
I was going to say, after you hit Nate up, hit us up at the God TV. We'll do a little crossover, doll.
Okay, I'll definitely throw this one out there just because we love to joke about this person so much. The Road Dogg.
Oh my God. I love him. He's the word for him, hilarious. One of the funniest people you ever meet. He was just here in Liverpool, and you'll crack up at this, Nate. So because we're American, like we got a reference that nobody else got. So I was wearing glasses. They weren't these, but they were similar to these, like, little, very Annie Potts and Ghostbusters, right? If you guys are listening, I apologize. You can't see, you're missing the whole visual. That's why it's so fun to do visual with Nate, because we can do silly things like this. So I was wearing glasses just like that, but they were red. And Billy Gunn and Road Dogg were in the ring, and they kept just like, I introduced them and sat down, and then they were just talking to the crowd. They were doing their whole interview. I didn't have to ask them anything. So as they just kept talking, Road Dogg looks at me and goes, Val, why the F are you out here? He goes, what are you even doing out here? And he goes, you with your Sally Jesse Raphael look. And I cracked up, and no one else was laughing. And he put the mic down and started laughing. And we were both laughing because I knew who he meant. I knew what he was talking about. And he was like, it was like a funny, it's like, he's a sweetheart. He even said, let me after. He was like, you're hilarious. He goes, what the hell was that? I was like, whatever. It was so funny. But he and I were laughing at a reference that nobody in the UK understood because they don't know who the hell that is. So when he said it, I lost it. And if you guys can go on YouTube, and I think they posted the whole Billy Gunn and Road Dogg interview from Liverpool. It is so freaking hilarious. It was probably my favorite of the whole day. It was so funny. And again, I wasn't needed. So he was like, Val, what the hell are you doing out here? And I was like, I don't even know.
Well, what's really fun, right. It was one of those things where I had to mention that because I think before I actually got to meet him in person, I actually got the chance to see that interview. And one of the things that always stuck out to me was that he always kept saying, like, oh, speaking of a podcast, I have a podcast. And he's just
yeah. That's what he kept doing over and over. And then I was like, by the way, do you have a podcast or anything? So funny.
So I actually had a really good experience with him because literally as he's doing like his appearances, he's just going over to the concession stand, get some food. I just remember pointing at him and being like, hey, don't you have a podcast? He just busts up. He's like, oh, you didn't know?
Oh, you didn't know? That's perfect. Like, thanks for mentioning that.
I think it was that moment, and then the actual getting a chance to get a photo with him. I actually bought one of his action figures. So one of the few people I've actually done that with. So I'm very proud to say that I have a Road Dogg autograph action figure in my room right now. So
he's so fabulous. I love that he's kind of behind the scenes. He's so knowledgeable and so fun to work with, and just everyone loves him. He's just one of the boys in that way.
Probably one of my all-time favorite interactions for like DX, NWO, Click, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. The one thing I will say before I go into the next name is the funny thing was that the picture that I actually had with him, literally he said before, I'm going to point at your dick. And he just points right at my crotch.
I believe him.
And you kind of can't see it because my hand looks really weird, but I'm basically pointing at his back. And he's just like,
you have this picture?
I have the picture.
Literally, you're going to have to send me this for proof, by the way.
Yes, I will. Literally, he says, I've done this a few times. You're the first person to ever point back at my dick.
He's so pure.
I loved him. I loved the interaction.
So funny.
It's just one of those interactions. Like, I don't think since the AJ Styles and Finn Balor face cam deal have I actually had a fun time with guests like Road Dogg. It was just absolutely an amazing time.
Did you meet AJ and Finn Balor at the same time?
No. That would have been a pipe dream. But it was WWE had like those meet and greet interactions for a while, which I don't know why they've not brought them back. Which
in person or like a Zoom or?
It was like a Zoom call.
Oh.
And that was the one that I mentioned you on the call. I said Val says hi, and AJ was like, "Oh, how's she doing? How'd you guys meet?" Just had a little conversation about how we met.
That's right. I remember that now. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I love him. He's the best.
Well,
and Balor's also fantastic.
Well, we could skip over those two, so that takes them out of the list.
Yeah, they're both amazing.
But since we talked one half about the New Age Outlaws, let's talk about the other half. Let's talk about the one Billy Gunn.
Oh my God, Billy Gunn is so funny. And the way that Billy Gunn interacts with me, if you didn't know how well I know him and how well he has been around me and how long, you would always think that he's like mean to me, but he's not. Like just stupid things. Like I was at a convention and I just love him. But people never think he's as big as he is. He is effing massive.
Oh yeah.
And everyone like I would travel with or whatever, like he's always like shockingly bigger than you ever think. It's hilarious, but he's a huge dude. Anyway, some wrestlers look like kind of the same when you meet them height wise, or some of them look a little bit smaller, but no, he's huge. Same with Randy Orton. He's a big dude. Two of the kind of optical illusions. So at one of the WrestleCons, he asked me, I think I asked him to get if he wanted a coffee. And I went down to Starbucks and they were like, the line was out the door, or something happened. He didn't have what he wanted. And I came back with a water and he's like, Val, what's this? Like in front of the whole crowd. I was like, they gave me water because he's like, this doesn't look like coffee. I asked for coffee. So he's flipping at me and I'm like, whoa, and I like ran away, like laughing. Well, not laughing, but pretending to be scared. And then at the shenanigans party this year is in Dallas, and I was wearing a cowboy hat, as you do. And he was like, he just kept calling me Tex. And like, but he doesn't smile. He just kind of goes, yeah, whatever, Tex. He's like, hey, Tex, what do you like? He just like, it's such dry humor. Then he'll crack up, but it's such dry humor that if you don't know him, it's like, because he's just such a big, imposing dude that you think he's like maybe for a second being mean, and it's like he's never like that. It's hysterical.
I've encountered that dry sense of humor at StarCast. That was still one of those memorable deals there. I think that was when I was meeting up with Chelsea Green too, so I got like a 2 for the price of 1 for that one. So.
Oh, fun! And she's fabulous too. Yeah,
absolutely. Oh man, I mean, her Matt Cardona are just perfect for each other, but also it's one of those things where like, well, Matt Cardona is the epitome of even nerds can get lucky.
Yeah, I guess he is a bit of a nerd, but he's such a good. Oh my god, he's always been the best at like social media and understanding like branding, and her too. They are really a fabulous couple.
Absolutely.
I've never even met him, by the way, never in person.
Really?
I've only like talked through friends. I've never actually physically met him before. I've met her many times, and I love her. Oh wait, we said this on Gaw. If I lived back in Orlando, we'd be besties. It's just a shame that I live so far away. But when I met her, I met her downtown in Orlando with all the Tough Enough people, and immediately I was like, this is my gal, like as if I had known her for years. And we just are so, oh my god, like very similar like in that way. And yeah, I love her. I think the world of her. Don't tell Nikki that they're having a bit of a spat online.
Oof.
Some flames have been thrown. So if anyone asks, I'm Team Mickey, but I do live.
Well, now that you've given me some ammunition, I'm literally just going to go on social media and be like,
no,
Matt Cardona, can you do me a quick favor? My friend SoCal Val has never met you. Can you just give her a quick hi, just to say that you guys interacted?
Well, I've talked to him before, and through other friends, okay. I just physically like, yeah. I remember we were talking about like through Impact stuff, but I've never actually like physically been around him. I don't even think I've seen him like at a signing, because the last time I was at a signing recently, Chelsea Green was by herself. So I don't think I've ever like physically met him. Isn't that weird?
Well, I'm still going to post that on social media. Be like, next time you see Val, you have to say hi to her in person, not social media.
Yeah. Well, now I'm racking my brain. I'm like, have I met him? I don't think so. That
dry streak needs to end. So people in the wrestling world, let's make this happen, and let's get photographic evidence of the two.
Next WrestleCon.
That's going to be one of those things.
You say that, and then now I'm forgetting that I met him. I'm going to feel horrible, because one time on Gaw, who was it? I was like, yeah, I've never met you before. And they're like, actually, Val, no, we did meet. I was like, oh, it's happened a couple of times, actually. Oops.
Well,
I meet just so many people, Nate. I'm like so busy.
Yeah, very nice.
Never nice to say.
So here's going to be an interesting one for you. Wrestle Talk.
Ooh, Wrestle Talk. Well, Wrestle Talk, I worked with them for quite a while, and I mainly was working with their Screen Stalker division, which was their film reviews. And with all due respect, I love talking about wrestling, sure, but I was kind of like really excited to do something that was not presenting for something that was totally unrelated. So it was kind of cool, because those guys, they're so nice. I love all of them. The one I worked with the most, and the one I have to say, if I have to play favorites, I love them all. But Lori was the one that I worked with the most. And if you've ever seen it, it's on YouTube. It's my favorite thing I've ever done with them. Is Lori and I went through, I sent it to someone recently because I'd never seen it. Like certain things I'm actually really proud of as a presenter, but this wasn't even like presenting. It was just me like being an idiot, and we were just laughing. And it was Lori and I going through Pokemon, and he was asking me the names of them all. And I was like, I know them all. I didn't know any of them. And in the video, it's me just coming up with the immediate phrase of what I think the Pokemon is called. And most of the time it was ridiculous. So for reasons like that, they're just so fun, those guys, and they're so good at what they do. Big fan. Yeah.
Oh, geez Louise. Now you're just giving me ideas for if we can finally do that Game Changer God crossover in Hollywood. Now I just want to do a deal where I just pick some random pop culture deal and be like, see if you can list all of these. And just
and it's even better if I'm like not that knowledgeable about it. Like Drag Race, I can talk about Drag Race all day because I know it and that's fun. But because it was Pokemon, he knew I wasn't going to know Pokemon. He knew it. Like I would never, it's not my thing. And I think he probably even asked me. And I was like, I don't know. But it was better that I didn't know and that I didn't see what we were talking about until it popped up on the screen. And it was so stupid and fun. So it's just like, like doing shows like Hot Ones and like doing these kind of like silly shows. I was watching an interview today with Ewan McGregor and they were interviewing him. I think it was BuzzFeed. And he was like, he had a bunch of puppies running around. No reason. It's just celebrities with puppies. Why not?
Yeah, some with like random animals, puppies, cats, all these adorable things.
Yeah. So cute.
Oh my gosh. Now I just want you to do like a parody of it, but it's like it would be like something disgusting like worms, and then at the end Boogeyman just pops up and just be like
big finish. Yeah. Oh, that's terrifying. I hung out a little bit at WrestleCon. He's very nice.
I've heard nothing but good things about Boogeyman, so
I didn't know him before that.
we know only so much about our heroes, and then we meet him and it's like, wow, it's amazing I've not known you this long and know you at all.
I know. It's funny because some of these people I feel like I've met before, but I haven't because I've just seen them for so many years on TV. It's like talking to Rikishi was like, I watched Rikishi from like day one, you know what I mean? From my day one, watching wrestling, and someone like that is just like, well, even like Road Dogg, like that's someone that was always on my screen when I was like I'm still a fan. When I was like a super fan, it's just surreal. You know what I mean? Trish Stratus, I was hanging out with in Liverpool, Trish and Tori and Candace, and I'm sitting there going like, what is life? I used to buy swimsuits when I was like 14 going, this is such a Tori pink, she would totally wear this. And now I'm like hanging out with her. Like I didn't tell her. I've told her like she knows I'm a fan, but like life's weird in that way.
I can definitely relate to that. Trust me. It's one of those things where it's like, you know what? I see this hot redhead on TNA wrestling. There's no way.
And then you met Christy Hemme and you were like, see where I went with that?
Yes, you did. That was
had to
good.
go there.
That was good. Oh my gosh. Now I'm going to lose my train of thought because you got me good with that burn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. How about your hubby, Mr. Owen, Mr. Armbar himself.
Mr. Armbar. I don't have any words. I mean, just the best.
Okay,
ever.
okay.
The funniest, the best, the most lovely. I could just cry. The best guy ever. The total package. Yeah.
He's no Lex Luger, but he definitely knows his way around a cocktail.
He's way better than Lex Luger. No offense, Mr. Luger. Better than all of them.
Well, he probably
best of the best.
Well, hopefully Alan listens in on this show to hear that. And Lex Luger.
I hope so.
Sorry.
But I'll tell you that for the confusion, in case anyone has any, no, I am not married to Trent Seven, but the freakiest thing is people always think that he looks like him. And I very often will be at shows people will think that it's him. And then what's weird is Alan grew his hair out like maybe about a year ago or something like that. And now somebody's sending us pictures that Trent Seven grew his hair out. I'm like, this has to stop. This is weird. And I know Trent Seven, he's a lovely guy and a gorgeous guy. So I'm like, thanks for the comment. But I'm not married to Trent Seven, just for the record.
I'm just not married to the dude.
I'm married to Alan 8. I don't know.
I'm married to the other grizzly veteran.
Yes. If you look alike, though, I do see it.
Oh no! Wait, the third part of Mustache Mountain. There we go. That makes it more better reference.
Yeah, Mustache Mountain.
So a couple more here. Slammiversary.
Nostalgic, emotional. There were so many emotional things that happened at this year's Slammiversary, and if you've missed it, of course, cheap plug, you can go to Fight TV because you can catch alternate commentary from myself, Lisa Marie Barron, and our bestie Traci Brooks, also a TNA Knockout original. And gosh, there were so many emotional moments. But when that AJ thing happened, when the Don West package happened, and when the AJ Styles vignette popped up, we were all emotional. And yeah, it was an amazing night. And we knew it was going to be a great pay-per-view, but it exceeded even our expectations. We were very, very proud to be a part of it, if only virtually, And actually Traci was there and got into a bit of a kerfuffle, which was awesome. We need to have her on the show, Nate. She is hilarious and talk about old school TNA stories. She's amazing. But she was there in person, but obviously Lisa was somewhere working and I obviously live in England. So we weren't there in person, but it was the next best thing to be watching it. And, during the chat, we engage with the fans and interact with them on the chat room. there while we're watching the show along with them. So that was really cool to be kind of with the fans and getting their perspective too.
It's really crazy because I just started doing the Brace for Impact podcast with Wrestle Addict Radio, cheap plug there. And and you know this, I posted a picture where I showed young you in 2005 to where I'm just like, first of all, Val somehow knows the Fountain of Youth because she has definitely gotten better with age. What the hell?
Thank you so much. It's wild to see those old pictures. It's like, damn, I remember all that stuff so well. It's hilarious. Yeah.
And just kind of seeing, again, like the humble beginnings of everything there. And Traci definitely was one of those people that really does not get the credit that she is due right now. I mean, obviously right now she's in one of those very unique storylines that she has with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and Trinity. Yeah. For that's why I'm just literally kind of looking at this like, what is this? This is, I mean, nowadays looking at perspective, it's like, this is kind of what they had to do back in the day to get more edgier. But at the same time, it's like Traci deserves so much better than that. Oh, wait, that's right. She's also going to be involved with Bobby Roode. So
yeah, and I loved when she was more of the the Miss Brooks character and got to kind of be like corporate-ish. I loved that. I thought that was always, probably my favorite era of Traci because she's had so many, and I've wrestled with her and physically wrestled with her and done shows that are all over Canada and Germany and places like that. But I loved that character with the glasses, and it was cool because on Slammiversary she kind of gave us a nod to that with like a bow tie and glasses, and she paid a little tribute and homage to her Miss Brooks character.
Yeah, I remember that when she got replaced with Peyton Banks. It's one of those things where it's like, you know what? That's great. You got basically the B- version of Traci Brooks. Yeah, that's totally
all due respect to Peyton and Bonnie Raitt, I love her, but at the same time, the character switching was odd, and I just wish they would have given her something different. They were both great, but I just it's like if you're gonna switch. Physically switch a character, then have them switch, personas kind of a little bit. No, that would have been my choice. But hey, a lot of things they did back then were a bit wacky and I wouldn't have done. But hey, a lot of what they did, I was like, what?
And so the last one will be GAW. GAW.
Grown Ass Women TV. I would hopefully use the words, hope people find it empowering and encouraging. That's, why we did the show was not just because we were bored during COVID and whatever. We were like, there's so many, especially because there's just so many young female fans watching, and we have a lot of female fans, a lot of male fans, of course, we love them all equally, but we just really wanted to talk about things and sides of our personality that were away from our characters, especially Mickey and Lisa. I'm very like social media. We're all on social media, but they're actual physical wrestlers. So they, are often kind of seen as this one type of character. And for me, it's especially nice to see fans see the different side of them because they're not just these tough athletes. Mickey's a mom. Lisa's been through so many different things. We find out new stuff about each other every show. Like Lisa one time was talking all about her medical background and how she used to like do eyeball removal and like, and work with like cadavers. Like there's things that these girls have not just had careers inside of wrestling. They've done so many other things and they're currently doing so many amazing things. So it's just nice to see the different facets of them as my friends, but also just, as their wrestling characters too, which, we love that part of it, but it's just nice to see them behind the curtain a little bit. And that's really what the show's about. You're seeing us as us, you know what I mean? Where it's very unfiltered. But we also keep it very lighthearted and fun. It's not like a super serious. We've gotten into some serious discussions and a little bit of politics, a little bit of, but that's very rare. It's mostly, causes that are near and dear to our hearts. But it's mostly just fun, fluff, slumber party. That's why we say, bring a cocktail, slip into something comfortable. That's the vibe. And everyone that's come on the show from Kurt Angle to, Brooke Adams, like there's been so many fun, different guests that are from different walks of life and different backgrounds. And we just hope that everyone walks away. And usually they'll tell us that, wow, that was so chill. Like that was such a fun giggle fest. And it went by like that because it was just us laughing. That's how these feel, Nate. It's like, it's just hilarious because we just crack up and it's nice to just have a catch up,
Yeah, no, that's one of the things I definitely do feel. And I've got to have a chance to experience that twice, if not 3 times, if we include the one where it was you, me, Lisa, and Melina.
Yeah.
But getting that chance, see all of you when interact and getting the chance to also get the chance to know you guys a bit better as a person definitely is one of those things where it's like, wow, never really imagine that it would be like this, but glad you get the chance to talk to them whether it's one-on-one or all of them together. it's definitely it's a humbling experience, but it's also a wonderful experience. It's like no ride in Disney World could match the interactions that I have with you ladies.
Well, that is the ultimate compliment. Thank you for that. But yeah, that's our goal, is to kind of just be ourselves, and not that our characters aren't ourselves, but very often they are playing characters, or we're kind of, I might be a little sassy or Val in certain times, certain things that call for it. But for me, I mean, I'm like the one on the show that's known for like being super sensitive and like crying and like, and being into certain things and being a huge ally for the LGBTQ plus community. And we just get to talk about things that are near and dear to our hearts. So yeah, I think that it kind of peels back a lot of layers for them to go, wow, hopefully they like us on a totally different level than, yeah, your bikini pictures are nice. Great selfies, Val. But hopefully they like you more as a person, which is really cool, because you do get comments and feedback about that like, oh, I didn't know this about you. Or, I feel like I know you guys now, which is really cool.
I think I'm still on debate. Do I like the model side of you, or do I like the personality side of you?
Well, the good news is it's all the same person. So you get it all.
True.
You get it all.
It's true.
It's like a 2-for-1,
A twofer for the price of one. A twofer. That's a Michael Strahan saying. A twofer.
A twofer. Oh, I get it. That's funny. I was like, what I was thinking? I was thinking of the guy from The Office. That's not Michael Strahan. That's Michael
Scott.
Yeah.
It pays to know these things.
It does. We're not sure where that check is yet, but it pays to know these weird things.
This is true. This is very true.
We're waiting on those paychecks to know this random information, but.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So it's kind of a deal that we again like to do here. We like to try and get a chance to have a little more of interaction, and also a time to very fabulous.
I just thought I'd look studious for this next segment.
So the segment here is going to be 2 truths and 1 lie. Basically, how it works is that we're going to tell each other 2 truths about ourselves and 1 particular lie, and it's up to the other person to guess what the lie is. Obviously, you guess the lie correctly, you get a point. If you guess incorrectly, the other person gets a point because they stumped you. That's how it goes. And I'm actually really curious to hear the truths and lies that you have prepared for me. I do believe in chivalry. So ladies first, if you want to start this off, Val,
okay,
please give me your 3 statements and let me figure out which one is the lie.
Okay. Number 1, I've met a president. Number 2, I worked for a short time at Starbucks. And number 3, I have shot an M16 rifle.
Wow. I'm trying to think here because
I'm trying to be specific with all of them to throw you off.
Mine are definitely going to be very themed, so it might throw you off a little bit. But gosh, I'm trying to think here because the president one, I would believe, because you've met a lot of famous people and you definitely have that kind of chain of knowing, people through grapevines.
Do I?
You definitely do. The Starbucks deal. How long did you work there for?
Oh, you're not allowed to ask specifics.
Well, okay then. Now we know.
I did say a short time though.
Okay, short time. Fair enough. I feel like you would really love coffee. The M16. I could still see that happening. I'm going to say the lie is I'll take a shot at it. I think it's the M16. I don't think you've shot an M16.
I sure have.
Really?
And I think I got the name right. Yes, I did it in Iraq, and it was, obviously on an army base. It was safe, and I am totally anti-gun. 1,000 for those taking notes. Totally anti-gun. Hate them. But I shot, but because it was the troops, and they should have guns. Hello, they're freaking in the army. And they had me shoot it, and I tried it once, and the blowback and the noise and just the whole connotation of like death and guns. I did it once. Tracy was there, and I started crying. And I said, I don't want to. I said, get it away from me. I don't want to ever do it again. It was awful. What else did you think was? The
only one I could see is that I feel like you wouldn't have met a president. I think that would have been the second one that I would have guessed. So
really. Oh, my dear friend Nate, I did not work at Starbucks ever, even though I do love Starbs. Nope, I didn't. And I said a short time just to be specific to throw you off. So hopefully it worked clearly. And I have met a president. I met George Bush Sr. He came to my church. Really? I used to go to a Baptist church in Orlando, and he came with security and everything. What is it? Special, what's security called when they're Special service? No. Secret Service.
Secret Service. There we go.
Yes. And I met him. Pretty cool. He was lovely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, well, you got one on me. 1 point to Miss Val for this one. All right.
Yay, I won.
We have won this round. All right.
Yay.
So let me see if I can stump you now.
Okay.
With a bit of a themed one.
I'm scared now.
I've seen every episode of Scrubs.
Ooh.
I've seen every episode of The Big Bang Theory. I've seen every episode of Stranger Things.
Well, you've not seen every episode of Stranger Things because it's not out. What are you talking about until then? Everyone that's available?
But basically the ones that are available now, correct.
Okay. I definitely believe you probably have watched Big Bang Theory because it's hysterical. I'm going to go with Scrubs. I don't think you've seen every episode of Scrubs.
I've seen every episode of Scrubs.
Have you?
I have, including that off season that they had at the end there, where they had what was his name? Dave Franco. There we go.
Oh, I love Dave Franco. I've never even seen. I've seen like maybe a part of one of those shows. Alan thinks it's funny. Should I watch it? It's obviously good if you've seen everything.
It's one of those things where there are some points where it does test your patience a little bit because some of the jokes don't always hit. But I think the interactions with JD, Zach Braff, and Dr. Cox are absolutely amazing.
From Clueless.
Yes.
I will say quickly, I have watched, and I was just watching reruns earlier of every episode of Superstore, and I cannot recommend that enough. Do you watch it?
Oh, really? I've not even heard of it.
Superstore? Oh my God. It's kind of like they work at Walmart, and it's America Ferrera and this guy, Ben Feldman, who's from Mad Men. Nate, it is so effing funny. Do me a favor. I'll watch an episode or two of Scrubs, and you watch an episode or two of Superstore.
Sounds like a fair deal. Okay. But I have not seen every episode of The Big Bang Theory. I just started watching it, and I'm loving it. So. Oh,
see, I thought you would. It's really funny. I thought it would be your humor. So you have seen every episode of Stranger Things then as well.
Yep, up until this point, until they've.
Okay, I am like one episode away from the end of what's just come out, and then obviously they have like a little bit more to come out, right? But it is scary AF.
It is definitely one of those things where it trips the mind, and you definitely feel a little bit like your heart racing, but it's still a fun series to watch nonetheless.
It's so good. I can't read. People are like, oh, you know what's so great about it? I'm like, well, the whole world loves it, so I'm telling you, it's good. It's so good, but I'll tell you, I try not to watch it late at night anymore, and it's very, very, very scary. It's the scariest one they've had. Man,
it is definitely a darker themed season.
Yeah, with the bodies and I can't, that kind of stuff. I'm like, I won't rewatch that. No,
definitely spine tingling.
Yes.
All right, so we are tied up. Val, did you have another set of series of facts that you'd like for me to? Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, these are going to be somewhat similar, but there is 2 truths and a lie. Mm-hmm. I have worked at a tanning salon. I have met a member that is a royal. I'm not going to say where, but a royal. And I have never been to a bachelorette party.
Oh, man. I mean, immediately my mind goes right to the bachelorette party one, but it's like, no, the royal is the one that I'm totally convinced that you have. Tang salon. I mean, now that you've said that you don't work at Starbucks, now it's like anything that's like fashion or coffee is like now like I have to really second guess myself at this point. So I'm torn between the first and the last one. Let's see here. Oh, definitely love the tan. I could see that happening, but also you lived in Orlando. That tans are like a must. So no, you would get the natural tan though. So yeah, I'm going to say you did not work at a tanning studio.
Okay. I did. And you know who used to come into that tanning studio quite often? Jeff Jarrett. Because it was right by Universal Studios. So some of the guys and I was working there when I first started with TNA. So I was kind of like, I'd see like Rhino come in, like people were like, oh, hi. I was like so young. I kind of had like, both jobs or whatever. But yeah, I worked at a tanning salon. Yeah, that's real. Man.
So what was the lie?
Well, the other ones were. You don't have any guesses about the other two?
The second guess would have been the last one, which was the oh gosh, it just slipped my mind now.
The bachelorette party. I've never
bachelorette party. Yeah, that was why I feel like you've been to a bachelorette party.
Okay. But what about the royal thing?
The royals is like the ones it's like I know that's the truth. So the second guess would have been the bachelorette party one.
Okay. I have been to a very lame bachelorette party. I have never met anyone that's a royal yet.
Really?
Isn't that sad?
That's
why I thought it was a good one, because I have met a president, but I've not met someone. And it's funny because some of these questions are what I asked Mickey and Lisa on the show as well. Yeah, I've never met anyone from the royal. I've never even seen them, unfortunately. So, I almost saw. Well, he's not really royal, but I almost saw the Pope. We went to Rome, but it was really early in the morning, and I was like, "That's early," so I didn't go.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah,
that is fair.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, let's do a fun movie related one.
Okay.
I have seen Avengers Endgame 7 times.
Okay.
And I'm talking back when it came out in theater. So I went into the theater 7 times and I saw it.
Oh, in the theater. Okay.
Yeah. To be a little more specific. I fell asleep during the first showing of Aquaman. So I had to go back in at a different day to rewatch it.
That's funny.
If we get to that point, I'll tell you this funny story behind that. And I have never seen a Disney movie that didn't make me emotional.
Aw. I'm going to guess, though, that you did not go 7 times to see Avengers. Maybe around that, but I'm thinking not 7.
You got it. It was actually 5. It was actually 5. It was actually 5 times.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Okay, I got it. Yay. And then, so tell me your I almost said the Aquaman thing, because I would have thought that it was a boring movie because Amber Heard sucks and it's terrible. That's probably why I fell asleep, because she's crazy.
No, so at that time I was still working at the movie theater. So literally I had a long day of work, and then I just went immediately into watching the Aquaman one. I think it was like the last Aquaman showing of the day.
Okay.
So went in, and about to the point where he was just about to get the original like Aquaman suit, that's where I was knocked out.
You were like,
so you're right. It might have been the Amber Heard deal, but
yeah, I just blame her anyway. Just blame Amber Heard, crazy bitch. Jason, she sucks. Yeah, I knew she was crazy. I knew when all that stuff was going on. I'm like, there's something weird here. This girl's a social climber. This girl's an opportunist. And I'm not that Johnny Depp was totally innocent. I don't think either. But man, is she crazy? You hear the thing about the nail polish, and she like pretended it was blood and stuff.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, she did this thing where, like, to make it look like, I guess she wanted him to think that he had made her bleed or something. She was like, oh, it was nail polish. It was red nail polish.
Wow.
What kind of calculated bunny boiling psycho is this girl?
I don't even know, but psycho I think is the appropriate word for it. So
yeah, I think sometimes like stuff like that, they'll probably do a movie about it, but sometimes stuff like that is like, it proves that there are crazier things that happen in real life than in movies, because that's like something out of a movie, but it's real life.
Damn. Yeah, it's insane. So
crazy.
You're up 3-1 right now, because I had yet to guess anything. You just caught me out for one of my lives. So we got one more round left. So Val, hit me with those factoids.
Okay, I'm glad that you started with the movie stuff, because I will tell you stuff that I've seen multiple times in theaters. So I have seen Legally Blonde 8 times in the theater. I have seen the movie That Thing You Do 11 times in the theater. Or I have seen Titanic 11 times in the theater.
Okay, first of all, you need to get a life, Val. Jeez Louise.
I know, right? Hey, you started with the 7 times.
This is true.
I was younger, too, for some of these.
You know what? That's fair. And also, it is Titanic. So I could honestly believe you seeing that 11 times. But, oh, man. So it was between Legally Blonde, Titanic, and what was the second movie?
That Thing You Do.
That Thing You Do. Okay.
You know that movie?
I've never
Tom
even
Hanks.
heard of it. Oh,
60s boy band.
wow. I mean, you mentioned Tom Hanks, and I'm like, wow, that's really sad that I don't know a Tom Hanks movie.
If you haven't seen it, it is phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Very nice. Man. I'm going to say you've not seen Legally Blonde that many times, 7 times.
Correct.
Really?
And I love Legally Blonde, but I did not see. I don't think I even saw it more than once in the theater, maybe twice. That Thing You Do, I loved. I was like obsessed. I think I was 10 or 11. And then that Titanic, I saw 11 times in theater. I'm more obsessed with Titanic than anything. And by the way, I'm going to be interviewing the guy who played the captain at a Comic-Con coming up, and I'm going to freak out. I hope he's cool. I'd love to have a drink with him and be like, tell me everything. Not that he was there. He was there in the movie, you know what I mean? But in my crazy nerdo defense, Titanic is a 4 hour and I think 15-minute movie that I saw 11 times in theater. I even snuck my talk girl in. You know what that is? Like there was a talk boy that was on Home Alone where you record. I snuck it in and I recorded the whole movie on cassette so I could go listen to it at home because I was obsessed. I'm not ashamed of it. I love that damn movie. It's the best movie in the history of film.
Do you still have that tomboy in that video?
It's probably mom's house somewhere. I don't know. I loved that thing. That was like my early recording days, like interviewing people, and you know.
You need to post that. Just be like, this is what Val did.
It was pink, and we'll have to Google it. It was pink and purple, mainly purple.
Oh my gosh!
You just record it just like he does. Like you record the cassette tape, yeah. But it was Talk Girl because it was a girly one.
That is absolutely amazing. I love it.
Or sad.
I don't know if we're gonna go to the sad point, but
yeah, let's just say it's super cool of me.
All right, so let's go into meetups. So I have met a former president. I have met a former head executive of WCW.
Oh.
I have met a former world champion in ECW.
ECW. I don't believe you've met a former president.
You are correct.
Yay!
I've only seen him during the time when George W. Bush Sr.'s son, George W. Bush Jr., was doing his re-election. He actually came to our neck of the woods and did like a little deal where he just went on his podium being like, oh, America's going to be great and blah, 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 that kind of deal. But nope, never.
Didn't actually physically meet him, yeah.
Yeah, never actually physically met him.
Wow.
So
who are the other two that you have met? An executive and a world champion?
So the executive would have been Eric Bischoff.
Oh yeah, I should have thought it was him. Duh.
And
I love him.
And the former ECW champion would have been Shane Douglas.
The French fries.
Yes, the French fries.
Quick story. I know I'm running out of time here, but quick story. Alan showed a picture of my ring to Shane Douglas when we were all out with him one night before I even saw it. So he saw my engagement ring before I did.
So it was approved by the franchise.
It was approved by what I call the French fries, and he always tells us that he always goes, "If you have kids, I'll be there. Just give me a call, I'll babysit." So cute. He's so nice. I love it, man. I love studying his tapes. I actually got his tapes to study Francine, who I also love, but I got so hooked on him. I was like, this guy is incredible. Man, was he awesome. Still awesome. ECW days were incredible.
See, now we're going to have to do like a show where we have both Shane Douglas and Francine on, just because you think that Shane's awesome. I think Francine is awesome.
Yeah.
And just, oh my God, I'm going to have to reach out to them, see if they'd be even up for it.
Yeah, we have Francine on our like immediate list. We have had some on our list, but she's one of the ones that we hope to get on GAW very, very soon, because I've always loved her. I did very early shows with her, WEW, and got to play her assistant. And then I had my first ever pay-per-view wrestling match with her, excuse me. And she's so lovely. But yeah, I used to study her tapes, and she was phenomenal. Because they wanted me to study cat fights. I'm like, okay, I got to get Don Marie and Francine tapes in here.
That actually does make sense. Because they were the epitome of the cat fights. But
oh, totally.
But yeah, you mentioned the fact that we are just about out of time. That's always sad to see these things.
It just flies by every time. I know.
Especially when we're telling each other lies and truths about stuff. Mm-hmm. It just makes it even more fun.
We've been lying for a good long time now.
That is true. That is very true.
That's okay, though. All between friends.
Friends and the thousands of people that are just like, these people are crazy.
You know what they're going to think, Nate? They're going to be like, these people lie really well.
Right.
They should be worried.
All right, so
We're very convincing. I'm a little scared now. I'll never be able to believe anything you ever say to me again.
I mean, I've seen you on TV. I'll definitely know the tells of when you're lying. So
yeah, you've seen it quite a lot.
So, whether it's TNA TV or GAW TV at this
We're
point.
gone. Lots of letters. Mm-hmm.
GAWTV, which is something that you do. So while you're doing plugs, definitely, what can you tell us about GAW TV and the fabulousness that is around it?
Well, thank you. Grown Ass Women TV, we call it GAW TV. It is on every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. That's 10 p.m. for those of us in the UK. And we have so many great guests already coming up, and we have so many backlogged episodes you can go ahead and watch on there. We also have patreon.com/GAW TV where you can get the episodes early, get perks, exclusives from us. We do different things like giving away shout outs, signed merchandise for our top tiers, etc. And exclusives from each one of us as well. And then, of course, for me, onlyfans.com/SoCal Val is where you can find all of my exclusives. It's a great time to join, actually, because I just got back from Tenerife. So I had a lot of bikini shoots and bikini, summertime fun and poolside, beachside photos and videos. I did a daily video every single day I was there as an update. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And of course, onlyfans.com/SoCal Val is your way to get DMs with me as well. And all kinds of little perks. So that's where you can find me. And of course, I'm active on social media, because I like to keep in touch with everybody and let you know what I'm up to.
Wonderful. Always absolutely wonderful having you on, Belle. It's just, it's always been a wild ride every single time that you are on. And it's always a fun time when we have you on.
Thank you. I always just come expecting to have such a great time. There's nothing I have to prep. It's so nice because I'm usually the one doing the interview. So these are just like, yay, I know it's going to be fun. So you did such a great job as always, Nate. You're a star.
Well, thank you very much. For those of you that want to check out my voice on so many other deals, you can check out the Game Changer podcast. Also, check me out on Wrestle Radio's Brace for Impact, where I've been reviewing a lot of classic Impact TNA shows because we refuse to call it anything else. And definitely check me out on social media at RealFNGame on Instagram, Twitter. Brace for Impact 2021 is where I also do the post for the show. Definitely check that out. So that is going to wrap it up for us here, guys. For SoCal Val, I've been Nate the Effing Great. Stay fabulous. Stay strong. Have a good one.
Bye.